Hello my dear fellow souls, and welcome to the fourth Behind the Lines video of Kira's Resurrection. I hope you had a great time with the lines and of course with your beloved ones. This video will be about chapter 4, Lion Dog, or how the Japanese title says, Agyo, which has nothing to do with aggro from aggressive, but we'll see that later in the kanji. So let's start with the scenes at first. And then we'll go to the central characters of this chapter, to the locations, and at last the kanji. A little spoiler alert at the beginning: this video contains spoilers about the previous chapters of Kira's Resurrection and of course of Death Note in general. So let's just start with scene 1. In the first scene we have Karasuke's and Ren's first meeting. It catches up right after where the last scene of chapter 3 had ended, but we'll see it from another perspective. It's out of the view of Light, how he sees this encounter. And he's not really amused about it, because Ren is sounding Karasuke out with his questions, and Karasuke is revealing too much of himself. So Light needs to interrupt this encounter, to cut it off. For this reason he enters the school bell tower and initiates its ringing. But Ren directly notices that this ringing comes a little bit too early. The first ground for suspicion of Light grounds on the fact that Ren had lied about his true name, because the name Light sees above his head is not the same as the one he introduced himself to Karasuke. So this is the first point where Light decides that Ren has to die. After Karasuke has entered the classroom, Ren gets a call from Washitsu. This is another point for his suspicion, because Washitsu is, like I will tell you in the kanji later, the name of a location instead of the name of a person who's calling. And then the next scene it takes place in Osaka. After a Shinkansen ride, about 3 hours and 10 minutes, which is exactly the time you need to travel from Tokyo to Osaka, where I've been 3 times already, so I know how long it takes. I've experienced it myself. Matsuda and Yamamoto enter the ground of Osaka University to meet Rie Chihane's former roommate. There she identifies Danhane as her boyfriend, who had, well, drawn her away from the academic world and into the sect. She also tells the inspectors the last words of Chihane, which were, before she left 7 weeks ago, that she had been blessed by Kira for the 2nd time. This is a very important hint for the investigation. Scene 3. Scene 3 takes place in Karasuke's history lesson, when a new classmate enters the class. The teacher introduces him and, big surprise, it's Ren Geshoku, who immediately takes a seat next to Karasuke, instead of all the others that were offered to him. And when Light tries to, whirl him out of the class with his wings, when it gets windy, Ren gets up and closes the window and locks Kira, or better said, Light, out. There's a quote I would like to read out once more. Of course. In the last Japanese history class, we discussed the career of the warlord Oda Nobunaga, from his birth through his reign to his death due to seppuku. Akechi Mitsuhide was primarily responsible for this, whose reign subsequently lasted only 13 days. The later is where today's class will catch up, Karasuke said. and then sat back down. 13 days. They've already become doom for many people, Ren muttered to himself, while the Shinigami listened at the window, but not to hear the lesson. This is a reference to the 13 days rule that Light had made up back then when he was the owner of the Death Note. And he used this rule that you have to add another name after you've written the first name into the Death Note after 13 days, because if you don't, then you die. He had used this rule to prove himself innocent. There was also this rule, who was the easiest to prove wrong by Nia, and because Light had used this rule to prove himself, Nia concluded that he had known this rule could easily be tested if it's true or not, and he didn't. That's the reason why he must be Kira. So, next scene. After the class ended, Ren and Karaske parted at the school gate, but Light still follows Ren. And Ren is not living in Edogawa district, where this school is located, but in another district, in Minato. Minato is quite far away. There's the sea between Minato and Edogawa, and the district Odaiba as well. So that's a very, very long distance between them. So it's unusual that if you live in Minato, you go to school in Edogawa. This is another ground for his suspicion. But he can't follow him to his home because he thinks that he should not let Karaske too long alone, because he could do some stupidities if he's not on a watch. So after the Shinigami has left, another time a wind arises. And after that, Ren puts up the lion dog mask, and it is revealed Ren Geshoku is Q. In scene 5, Matsuda and Yamamoto are at the prefectural police department of Osaka, and they want to investigate because of the castle incident in which Chiane was involved. But all these files were taken by suits who are rumored to be sent by L. So they don't have really something to find there, but a young inspector who has just graduated from the academy, Heiji Horikawa, wants to cooperate, even if his superiors didn't really allow that. He tells them that he was at the crime scene at the first time, and he had written a report about that. And this report he handed over to the inspectors, as well as he guides them to the pathologist who had taken samples and who had first examined the bodies before they were taken. The pathologist also wants to help them, but he's not allowed to do it officially. So he sets up a meeting at Osaka Castle at the evening. Yes, the next scene would start with a quote. Scene 6. Yes. A half-empty bottle of oolong tea was within reach, as well as a torn open bag of beef broth-flavored potato chips. The middle school student had just started his math homework when he remembered today's class, especially his new classmate Ren. So, we have a lot of things on the table, on the desk of Karaske. There's the first, the broth-flavored chips, potato chips. This is the same flavor mentioned in the live action series of Death Note. Sorry, in episode 4, and it's also seen in the manga in page 17. Then the oolong tea, I've taken that from a Digimon Adventure 3. It's the favorite tea flavor that Issy likes to drink. But now let's get back into the scene. We have Light talking to Carrasque, who is sharing his suspicions about Ren. He's telling them that he could see the real name, but he's not allowed to tell this name to Carrasque. There would be a law break, and he doesn't know what will happen if he does that. And he didn't want to investigate it right now. And he demands that Carrasque should kill Ren right away after he can figure out the true name of his new castmate. But Carrasque starts defending Ren by refusing this request and arguing against it. He invents that Ren does not really fit Kira's profile, and both shouldn't rise up against their god. So they come to the conclusion that at first they should investigate, or Carrasque should investigate, and test if Ren is a threat to Akira or not. And if he proves to be a threat, then Carrasque has to kill Ren. And if he breaks this pact with the Shinigami, Light tells Carrasque that he will die then. And he also threatens to take away the right of ownership. So he's putting a lot of pressure against Ren to draw his apprentice away from him. And here's another quote I would like to read out. This is Light talking. Ren lied to you. I never have. So why don't you believe me? I consider him a threat. He radiates something. He has an aura about him that seems familiar to me. It was like meeting a demon in the darkness. I have a really bad feeling about him. Light appealed once again to his apprentice, now stepping through him completely and flooding this human body with cold. This is a phrase taken from the Case Closed manga. It's in chapter 953, and this is a quote Jin says. I like Jin very much of this show, and it was the first chapter I could gain when I visited Japan first in 2016. So there's a little connection from me to this phrase, and I really like this phrase. So this is where it comes from. Okay, we have the half chapter behind us, and now the last 16th of the chapter are left. We'll start with scene 7. Q is returned to the investigation headquarters where Mogi and Ida had stayed and are investigating if there is a connection between Germany and one of the former employees of Sakura TV and NHN. And indeed, they found some connections. One to Temekawa from Sakura TV, because he had a half-brother, and the father of the half-brother is German, or was German. And there is another connection they find from NHN, and NHN, especially it's Kyumi Takada, and her mother was in a relationship with a German-Japanese in 4th generation. So that's so far. And there's a lot of tension between the inspectors and Q. They also ask Q if he knows something about that L had, confiscated all the files about the castle incident in Osaka, but he says he has no connection to L. He can't contact him, so he's not able to, and this is all a test for him, so he's not allowed to. And this, causes a lot of more tension, because Mogi tells him if only a single innocent victim falls to this test, his cooperation will be over. Now we're at Osaka Castle in the next scene. And there's a quote I would like to read out again. Rain, of course. As the saying goes, even the sky cries at the beauty of Osaka Castle. So always bring an umbrella, the inspector spoke out, wiping out a retractable umbrella and opening it. So, there's a little fun fact in this raining, because every time I visited Osaka, it always started to rain. All 3 times. And in the most episodes of Case Closed, when Conan visits Osaka, it's also raining. For example, in episode 124, 125, or 282 to 285. What's happening there at Osaka Castle? There's an assassination attempt against Dr. Masuoka, the pathologist. He is able to share his data and test results with Matsuda before he dies. And this assassin is followed by Yamamoto, and before he is shot by Matsuda, the assassin and not Yamamoto, he reveals that there is an upcoming attack of the sect, a terroristical attack against the X. This is a Tokyo detention house. And while Matsuda is contacting the investigators in Tokyo, Yamamoto destroys one of the page that was handed over them from Dr. Masuoka, which had a note upon that Kira might have returned. In the next scene, we'll see the attack on the Axe. The sect leader, the executioner, is leading the attack. They have codes, access codes to all law facilities from Kageyama, who is sitting in the Axe, but they did not come to free him, but to kill him. He has a relationship with the leader, the executioner, because they were friends in former time. This is how he got the codes. He leaves a message on the wall of his cell, and before he is killed, Kageyama manages to bite off the quill nail of the executioner. And at the same time, the sect also kills nearly every criminal inside this facility. So, scene 10. Scene 10 has a lot of quotes I would like to read out, and so let's start. The first. Again. Can't you finally have a heart attack during an orgasm? I miss the good old days when heart failure was the most common cause of death. Sudden and unexpected. The perfect death. There's primitive Farquhar. I have to concentrate here. These are the thoughts of Light, of course. And this is a reference to the killing method he used when he was the owner of the Death Note back then, and that was, of course, the heart attack. Let's come to the next quote. It's a description. The bald news anchor, with only 3 remaining hairs, said. He wore a yellow suit and the belly fit him due to his bulky appearance. This description is a reference to one of the Pokemon. It's the reference to Psyduck, because Psyduck was also the newscaster in the GameCube game Pokemon Channel. This is where I have taken that from. So he should a little bit look like him. And the reporter, so the next quote, a young woman appeared, dressed in dark clothes, holding a microphone. She had long black hair and dark-colored eyes, shaped like a cat's. 2 fine strands hung over her face, which was probably intentional. The green of her eyes seemed cold and empty. The female reporter stand in front of a fence. The description of her I have taken from Reina Misunashi. It's also a character. She's a character of Case Closed and a member of the Black Organization. I wanted her to look like her because Reina Misunashi has also a fake identity, and there she is a reporter. Okay, What happens in the scene? In the scene we have a news report about the happenings at the X. Carrasco and Light watch the news, and Carrasco is shocked because the victims of this attack weren't only criminals, but also only suspects. And he wants to stop that from ever happening again. Also does Light, because this is a good time to read out the quote. Because the last time he left this room for interpretation of his will, it didn't end good for him. I don't intend to open this room for interpretation. I did it once, and it cost me my life. My rules are strict and clear, and whoever thinks they could expand their boundaries will stumble over them and fall into a deep abyss. They will fall from the ground of grace and receive my divine judgment. That's why I hate preachers. They don't worship any god, but rather seek his disempowerment, using the fear of God as a weapon of subjugation. This is also a reference to Mikami, who had also expanded the interpretation of what Kira might want and acted on his own behalf, which has led to Light's reveal and his death. Scene 11. In scene 11, they just share, Mogi and Ida just share what they have found out about the connections to Germany of Demigawa and Takada. When Matsuda calls and warns them about the attack on the axe, but Kyo doesn't want them to go to the crime scene and to prevent it, just to inform their colleagues. They should more watch and observe what's going on to find any hints in it, which draws the tension even more. In the final scene, Carrasco is visiting the grave of his father to gain a new page of the Death Note. Then suddenly Ren shows up under the purpose of handing Carrasco back the notes of class lesson. He got the lesson the day before. And at the same time, Masaru and Genta show up. The two bullies which Ren had stand up against and protected Carrasco from. They now are back for another strike. They are attacking both of them, Ren and Carrasco, and are hurting Ren deeply. He's bleeding, he's lying on the ground, unable to move, and instead of asking for help, he just wants Carrasco to leave, to protect himself instead of Ren. And then suddenly he got hit in the face and he got a bleeding lip. His finger is again stained with blood, and the Death Note page is in his reach. At first Light really smiles and makes fun about it, and he really likes this thought of Ren's end. But then when he sees that Carrasco is going to write something with his blood again in the Death Note, or on the Death Note page, he's beating his wings incessantly to blow this page out of the reach of his apprentice. And this is where this chapter finally concludes, and the next will start. So that's so far for the scenes, and now we will take care about the characters. The central characters of this episode are truly Ren, Carrasco and Light, and their relationship between the three of them. This is now going to develop. Ren is Q, like I said before, so he is investigating on the school of Carrasco because of his suspicion about the death of Takeshi Epe that might be caused by a new Death Note. Yes, when the boys first met, Carrasco is going to be attacked by Masaru and Genta, and Ren protects him from the bullies. And he starts talking with Carrasco, and he just gains incidental suspicion. It's just a feeling, you can say. It's not really proof that he has, but it's a ground of suspicion where he could start, or he wants to start from his investigation, his own investigation, which is independent from the ones he's having with the inspectors. Light sees through the name lie right away, of course, because he's a Shinigami, he can see the real name of Ren. And this is exactly the time he decides that Ren has to die, because he had lied about this to Karaska. And he's asking too many questions, and this incidental look, he suddenly was able to look Light directly in the eye, because even if he couldn't see him. And this is something that unsettles Light a lot. Karaski is a little irritated. He's a little confused, but it doesn't feel bad at all. On the contrary, it feels good, because it's the first time a human is caring about him, and who is really showing interest in him. He wants Ren to become his human friend, aside from his Shinigami friend Light he has already had. But this interest he shows in Ren, Karaska shows in Ren, so is exactly what what really uncomfort Light, because there's now another pole pulling on him, and this time he's pulling away from Light. Yes, and he starts also protecting Ren by refusing the request of Light to kill him. He's arguing against it and using the only argumentation of Light against himself. This is something he really hates. So they will now try to test if Ren will fit Kira's profile, or if he is a threat to Kira himself. So let's now get to the locations. We have a lot of locations this time. At first, University of Osaka. The University of Osaka, the sign is the blue silhouette of a ginkgo leaf. I've never visited this place, but it's a place that exists in our real world. You'll find a link in the description below, if you're interested in how it first looked like there. Then we have the Minato district. There are several places mentioned, especially a lot of subway stations. For example, it's the district where you can find the Tokyo Tower. But I will talk about the Tokyo Tower at a time when it finally appears in one of the chapters. Then we have the Prefectural Police Headquarters of Osaka. This is the place where Harley Hartwell's father is working, from A Case Closed. And I've described this building as much as I could, because I have never visited it by my own. I've just seen it from pictures. But this is not the case at Osaka Castle. I was 3 times visiting Japan, and I was always visiting Osaka Castle because I love this place. Especially when you have this old building in the middle of a very, futuristic city. When you have the skyscrapers around and fencing that old castle, it's beautiful. It's like there's been a place of the city stuck in time. So I'd like to describe a little the way that you go there and show some pictures at the same time. When you arrive at the subway station, the Osaka Koen station, you walk down huge stone stairs to a promenade where you can find restaurants, statues and souvenir shops. This promenade runs towards the local television station, where are some statues, bronze statues of the Case Closed characters, the detective boys. And there's also this great fountain where the showdown takes place between Yamamoto and the assassin. When you follow this promenade, you'll come to the first bridge that leads over the water to the castle, and next to this bridge there is a takoyaki stand. You can buy takoyaki. I will show a picture at this point. It's the same stand that hadn't changed there for the 8 years that I was visiting Japan. And then you come to the castle grounds, where the whole castle, the White Castle, is standing in front of a stone pedestal, which is consisting of huge stones with a lot of gaps between them, implying that any time they could rubble down to you. There are golden carps and tigers and very much decorations around the castle in gold. I hope you can see that on the pictures I'm showing. It's a really beautiful place in Japan. And the last location is the X. It's called the X, but it's the Tokyo Detention House. It's also a real facility existing in our world. It's a correctional facility, and from the bird's eye view it looks like an X, which has a mirror line at the vertex. It's this and you have then yes, how can I show that? From bird's eye view you see that, the X, and then you have a mirror line at the vertex. But you can see that in the links in the description below for yourself. So now what's left are the kanji. We start with the Japanese title of this chapter, Agyo. Means it's the first sound you make if you say and there are also 2 lion dogs, mostly in front of the shrines, one with an open mouth, who is representing this sound, and one with a closed mouth representing the sound. It's like yin and yang, or like beginning and end, alpha and omega. And gyo means form, shape. Then we have the washitsu. Wa or naga means harmony, peace, softening, and shitsu or heya means room. So this is just the word for the Japanese room in most of the houses in Japan. So we have the Osaka Daigaku. O or dai means big, saka or han means height, slope, and we have either O and dai for big and gaku for school. Now we have the 3 stations. The Nishikuzu Nishi Eki. Nishi means west, Kuzu means arrow route or kutsu, Nishi again for west, and Eki for station. Then we have the Kaya Bacho Eki. Kaya means miscanthus reed, Ba means location, place, Michi or Cho means town, village, block, street, and Eki, station. Then we have the Kamiyacho Eki. Kami means God. It's the same kanji for Shini, Gami, death, God. Tani or Ya means valley, and Machi or Cho means town, village, block, street, and Eki, station again. So let's come to the Minato-ku, the Minato district. Minato means harbor or ku. You can also call it ku, and ku means port district. Now we have the first character introduced, Heiji Horikawa. Hori means ditch, moat, canal. Kawa means river. This is a kanji we already know. Hei means even, flat, place. And ji or tsugu means next, order, sequence. And this character is designed after Heiji Hattori. It's the Japanese name of Harley Hardwell of Case Closed. And from him I took the first name, and the last name I took from Ryo Horikawa, Ryo Horikawa is the voice actor of Harley Hartwell in Japan. Then we have Daiki Masuoka. O or Dai means big, like I said before. Ki means trees, wood, establish, set up. Masu means benefit, gain, profit, advantage. And Oka means mount, hill or knoll. This is a character I've designed after Vince Masuka from the television series Dexter. In the books of, for example, Darkly Dreaming Dexter, Vince Masuka is spelled Masuoka. This is where I took the last name from. The first name means victorious, Daiki. And victorious is also the meaning from Vincent. Then we have the takoyaki. Takoyaki is Japanese food specialty. So, and taco means octopus, and yaki means bake or burning. So it's some of a baked octopus. Then we have Anton Kamoike. Kamo means duck, Ike means pond, N means fortunately, and Ton means association. So, I told you this character is designed after Psyduck, a Pokemon. And Psyduck, the name for Psyduck in German is Anton. This is where I took the first name from. And the last name means duck pond. Then we have Reina Hondo. She's the newscaster. Hon or moto means origin or book. Do means public chamber hall. And Rei means wise. And Na means Nara or what. Like I said, she's designed after a character from Case Closed as well, the reporter Reina Mizunashi. So I took Reina as the first name, and Hondo as her real name is Hidemi Hondo, so this is where I took her last name from. And then we have Hitoshi Demigawa from the original Death Note manga. De means leaf. Ma means eye, Gawa river, and Hitoshi means humanity, virtue, man, kernel, benevolence, charity, which also does not really fit the character of Hitoshi Demigawa. And then we have Kiyomi Takada. Taka means high, expensive, and Da is the kanji for rice field. Kyo means pure, purity, cleanness, and Mi, beauty, beautiful. This is why Takada was called the Pure, and why she has become Miss To. So that's so far for the behind the lines of chapter 4 of Kido's Resurrection. I hope you enjoyed this video as well as you have enjoyed reading chapter 4. Yes, I hope you have a good time with your beloved ones and with the upcoming chapters. I hope you're thrilled to read them. So I'm sending you a lot of positive energy, so let us make the world a little bit better and send out in this, well, very shadowy world a lot of light, true light. And don't forget to place an apple on your windowsill at night, for any passing by Shinigami to pick it and spare you from hunting. Bye.